Susan had always been a quiet and reserved person, preferring to keep to herself rather than engage in the social whirlwind that often surrounded her. She had always felt a little out of place, like she didn't quite fit in with the rest of her peers. But that all changed the day she saw him. It was Saturday afternoon when she stepped into Anderton's bookshop to look for her next read, when she caught a glimpse of a familiar face browsing through the inventory. Just as Susan entered the store, he looked up and saw her. The man seemed to be equally captivated by her. He, too, was sure that they had met before, but he couldn't remember where. They both were intrigued by each other, and without hesitation, they instinctively approached each other, their eyes locked in a silent exchange. "Have we met before?" they both asked simultaneously, their voices barely above a whisper. By asking each other the same question, they both realized that they had indeed crossed paths before. But, where? And, when? He began, "My name is Kyle. Kyle McIntyre." She said, "I'm Susan Blackwell." Kyle responded, "I remember that name from somewhere. But I don't think we ever worked together." "Where did you grow up, Susan?" "I grew up in Springdale," she replied. "I graduated from high school there." "So did I," Kyle said. "Wait a minute. Were you in the choir?" Susan had a spark of recognition, and said, "Yes, I was. I sang soprano. And I remember you now. You sang baritone, didn't you?" "Yes, I did," Kyle said. "So, you must have been at one end of the choir riser, and I was at the other end." "That's right. I always wanted to meet you," Susan began, "but I was very shy back then. I was uncomfortable around boys." At that point, they realized that they were disturbing the other customers in the store, so Kyle suggested that they step outside to continue, which they did. Kyle resumed by recalling Susan's words. "You were saying how shy you were back then. In my case, I wasn't shy, but I was incredibly awkward around girls, and I had trouble when I started dating in my junior year. I never had a girl date me more than a couple of times. That left me so discouraged that I didn't even try to date during my senior year. But in May, I did connect with a girl, and we dated each other all summer. But we broke up before school started in the fall. As for meeting other choir members, I didn't have time to linger before or after class. I struggled to get to the choir room on time, because my previous class was so far away. And my next class was just as far. In fact, I only remember the other choir members who were in other classes with me. But I wonder what would have happened had we been able to introduce ourselves to each other." Susan said, "Seeing you now and remembering you from then, I wish I had taken the initiative to get to know you." Kyle asked, "Did you ever get married?" "No, but later I did start dating a guy, and it began to get